welcome to episode 7 now of the 3.7 Hartech Engine series. Pretty cool one today. So we're basically going to do a straight comparison performance-wise between 3.4 and a 3.7. So some of you may remember one of the previous episodes I was moaning about this little device here. I bought this to do some testing before the 3.7 build on my car when it was still 3.4, and when I went to use it my clutch completely disintegrated, so that didn't work out too well, and I was kind of gutted, but luckily for me, yeah, I've got very nice subscribers, it seems, because a subscriber, Toby, got in touch and said, I've got a 3.4, you can use mine. So we've been out in the 3.4 and we have got some stats. We then hopped in the 3.7 and then went out and did exactly the same in that. So just like mine, Toby's car, it was built in 1998 and registered in 1999. His car has standard cats but with a Dansk sports exhaust, but the mild version, which I'm told is basically like OEM noise levels. But with a Gundo hack as well. And my car is 200 cell cats with just standard Porsche OEM silencers. But we've managed to get 6 metrics on the cars. Second gear, 20 to 40, 30 to 50, 40 to 60, and 20 to 60 miles an hour. And then we've looked at third gear, 30 to 50, 40 to 60. So I managed to get some footage as well of the cars, each car doing a pull with a microphone placed at the back of the car, so you'll be able to hear the differences in the exhaust setups as well. So let's have a look at that, and then let's come back and look at the stats. Okay, so the tests were done with 2 people in each car, and with both cars having around a half a tank of fuel or so, or thereabouts. Not completely scientific, but it was done on the same day with the same people, so same conditions and all the rest of it. Well, let's have a look at the results. So we've got a 20 to 40, 30 to 50, 40 to 60, so those are the kind of, 20 miles an hour apart. And the difference is pretty consistent there. It's a third of a second basically for each of those. But it's kind of, what's interesting is when we looked at the third gear stats. So again, just 20 miles an hour apart, 30 to 50 and 40 to 60, but a much bigger difference there. And that, I guess that's not really surprising. It's like driving the cars back to back. You can, I guess the higher gear you're in, and the lower the RPMs are, the more difference you feel in the 2 cars. That's not to say that there isn't a big difference when they're both at full chat as well. There's definitely a big difference there as well, but lower down in the rev range, it's much more evident. And to see why that is, we can look at the dyno results here. So unfortunately what we don't have is a 3.4 torque curve overlaid onto this. What the 2 torque curves that you can see on here are the black one is the 3.7 engine before a custom tune, and the blue one just above it is the 3.7 after the custom tune. So 3.4 isn't on here, but I have marked on here where the 3.4 makes its peak torque, which is at 4,600 RPM, it's 258 pounds-foot. So, and I guess what I was trying to point out here was the first kind of red line here. So 258 pounds-foot of torque. So the 3.7 makes that amount of torque at just over 3,000 RPM. So straight away there's a big difference there. And if we have a look at what happens after that, this blue line here pretty much goes straight up to you know, the full 20% gain over the 3.4, so nearly 300 pounds-feet of torque at 4,400 RPM, which is just before the 3.4 makes its peak torque as well. So you've got a lot more torque, and it's hitting you a bit sooner as well. So, but what I found interesting looking at this was what would happen if you did the capacity conversion but you didn't do that custom tune. So when you get a 3.7 engine with Hartech, you get the custom tune with it, part of it. But when you look at it, so the second red line here, I guess what I want to demonstrate is just the value of that additional piece of work by chip wizards who do the tune. Is, you know, the torque kind of would go up a bit and then level off, and then go up a bit and then level off, and then go down a little bit and then back up again to peak at 5,200 RPM, and then level off again, and then it starts to drop off. So what the custom tune does is it just kind of levels out that curve, so you get a nice kind of, it's just much nicer. You don't get this kind of wavy torque curve. It's a combination of these two things really. So around 3,000 RPM for the car to be at its previous peak torque figure. I mean, what that translates to is that, you know, whatever gear you're in really, if you put your foot down, you're immediately off. There's no kind of waiting for the engine to come on song or anything. It's just you're off. You're going. And then, like I say, the torque just keeps rising and building, and it never really drops off, to be honest. Someone said in the comments the other day, or one of my videos, why do I seem so impressed with the modest 300cc capacity increase? And the answer is that, really. I mean, it's not just a 300cc capacity increase. They've actually leveled out that kind of wavy torque curve you get as well. And so it's kind of, yeah, like I say, it is a double whammy, because you're initially surprised when you squeeze the throttle, and then it just builds and builds and builds and doesn't stop. And yeah, it is impressive, and it does translate to a car that's just much faster. It was good to get the stats that we did, but you know, for very obvious reasons, I didn't want to do anything to my car or Toby's car that could have damaged the drivetrain in any way, or introduced any kind of elements of either driver skill or anything where grip could have been compromised, because I think when we were doing the test it was like 4 degrees outside. But I think the stats are quite telling actually, so I think it worked out quite well. But anyway, that's it for this one. As ever, more videos to come soon. We're already 600 to 700 miles into the break-in period, so we'll be back at Hartech before we know it, getting the final checks and getting onto its proper, you know, final oil and all the rest of it. Big thanks to Toby as well for lending me his lovely 3.4. But yeah, for now, thank you very much, and I'll see you very soon for the next one.